love to hear an orchestra play, but you just don't want to go to Philadelphia or to New York or to Baltimore. Well, I've got a local one right around here that you can go and hear anytime. And my guests tonight are Ramon Pawlowski and Marilyn Minster, who are both associated and are both with the Newark Symphony Orchestra. And Ramon, you are the conductor, and Marilyn, you're the president of the Symphony
Society.
Symphony Society.
Yes. Okay. It's not associated primarily with the orchestra. We are a subsidiary or a support.
Well, why don't I first begin by asking you, Marilyn, to tell me a little bit about the orchestra. How long has it been together?
Since the late 60s, and it sort of has an interesting story. Our former conductor, Harley Hastings, felt there was a need for an orchestra, and it started out with about 4 or 5 people playing strings, and it grew, one enthusiastic person after another, and it's been growing until we reached the stage of where we are now associated with the University of Delaware and doing great things.
How many members in the orchestra?
Well, it changes. It's a variable, depending upon the orchestra or the concert that's being given, and it usually averages about 63, 65 people.
And you've been with, you've been president for 2 years, and you've been conducting for 2 years.
This is my second season with the orchestra. Yes.
Tell me a little bit about, obviously you enjoy doing what you do, but I know you do make a trek from Pennsylvania to Newark to conduct and to, of course, come down for the practice sessions and all that. Why are you so interested in conducting?
That's nearly an impossible question to answer, but there is a enthusiasm that I feel once a piece of music is selected in terms of what the composer wanted to say through that music. And trying to then take that enthusiasm and instill it in the body of musicians that through a cooperative effort recreate that meaning. That's a very satisfying undertaking.
And of course, not many people know this, but the orchestra mainly are made up, they're all volunteers. Is that somewhat of a challenge to you also, knowing that you're not conducting with professionals, but well, I guess we might as well just say people that love to play music, amateurs?
I prefer not to refer to that as a challenge. It is a different approach, but in many respects it's more rewarding. Professionals perhaps can play all of the right notes with fewer rehearsals, but very often the professionals do not bring the same abandon and joy that the amateur does to the activity.
How many events have you played for? Are you just, I know you have a season that runs from when again?
From about September to May. Okay. There are 4 concerts a year. And we're having an extra concert this year, the Young People's Concert. But then we have other activities, the Young People's Competition, which this year was extremely exciting, and Ramon, I understand, was very thrilled, and perhaps he can tell you about that.
What was this about?
Each year the orchestra will feature 2 young soloists with the orchestra, a high school-aged soloist and a college-aged soloist. And at our competition, the performers were all so worthy, it was very painful to have to pick winners because they were all outstanding.
A lot of talent out there, huh?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I would imagine that this is something for the town of, or rather the city of Newark to be very proud of, the fact that they have a symphony orchestra. There's not that many cities or towns around that can boast of that.
That's very true. And we've just recently approached the city to adopt the orchestra as the official symphony orchestra. And from what I understand, it's been very favorable.
Do you have something at the beginning of the year where you have so many people who come up to you and say, well, gee, I play the flute or I play whatever, I want to get on this orchestra? I mean, do you have something where you have to say to so many people, this is the cutoff?
That's part of the problem. We're always in the process of recruiting new players. When it comes to string players like violins, we can use as many as there are available. When it comes to flutes, if we have 4 in the orchestra already, that's the limit. We can't handle more than that. But there's always a shortage of bassoons and oboes.
Where do you play when you do play?
Usually the performances are at the DuPont Music Building at the University of Delaware.
Loudest Hall.
the loudest recital hall.
And when was the last time that you performed?
Well, the December concert.
December concert at Dickinson High.
That was the Dickinson High School, and that was because we were performing with the choral union of the university, and there were so many bodies on stage that the recital hall
wouldn't hold them at
wouldn't hold
loudest.
it.
Oh, boy.
So we had to move to Dickinson, and we had a full house.
Yes,
Really?
the audience was full too.
Yeah, not only a full stage, but a full audience.
What's next?
The next concert is in March. The performance will include the Schubert Fantasy in F minor, which I orchestrated, and I'm very proud of giving the first performance with the Newark Symphony. And there will be a youth soloist, and I regret that I don't have her name on the tip of my tongue, but she will be playing the Gershwin Rhapsody in Blue, the high school age division. And the concert will end with the Bruckner Symphony No. 1 in C minor.
Huh.
We're rather excited about this concert.
Any long-term goals here? Anything that you'd like to, I mean, would you like to see the orchestra expand in some way or another, or anything that you're working on right now?
Oh, yes. You know, there's always room for improvement. And we definitely, I mean, this is why the society is backing the orchestra. They're constantly giving support so that they will improve musically, and jointly we can improve the culture of the Newark area.
And I understand that a lot to do with fundraising, too.
Oh, yes, we do fundraising. We do a lot of fundraising, from an auction to an art auction. And we are really trying to stress creating an atmosphere in our fundraising for local artists. So our art auction, which is upcoming, will be for local artists, and it'll be for the benefit of the musicians. So one hand, you know, one art helps the other art.
Okay, well, listen, Marilyn, thank you a lot for being with us, and Ramon, same with you, and I wish the Newark Symphony Orchestra the best. It sounds like you're doing a wonderful job at it.
Thank you.
And when we come back, Bob will take you on a tour of the historic sites in Delaware.